Lindsay, great to have you back. Recap where the world's going, why it's so important, and then we're going to go to calls.
I beg of everyone out there in your listening audience at GCN and on the Alex Jones Show today in InfoWars, I beg of you, I plead with you to listen to the buzzwords that the elite have given me within the past 2 weeks' time. If you do, you will be able to spare yourself major heartache in 2012. There is no question whatsoever that 2012 will be the most startling and unusual and eventful year in 2,000 years. I said that 3 months ago when we first came out with 2012, the beginning of the end. Now, since I was given this information just days ago about the currency devaluation, I want to give you the buzzwords right from Mr. Bernanke's speech. Then I'd like to go into the 5 points he said. I'll do all this if I can between now and the end of this half hour. And then, please, folks, I want to tell you what to do about this. You see, there are elite who are old. The people I knew 35 years ago when I was invited to be the chaplain to the elite of the world and lived with these people, sat across the dinner table with them, lived in the same dorms with them for 3 years, have kept in touch with them over these years. They're in their 70s and 80s now, and old men are talking because they've got a conscience, regardless of who they are. When they face their maker, they know they're going to face it. All right, here we go. Just within a matter of days ago, the elitists basically said to me, go to a certain place, chaplain, and you will know what is about to happen. First of all, I want to punctuate this by saying they did not give me a date. I didn't say whether it's going to happen in January or February. It is going to happen. Mark my words. It's already been said. I want to give you their buzzwords. Please take this down. I hope you have pencils and paper again today because I'm going to give you facts that you can go on the Internet and find them for yourself. They said go to November the 21st, 2002. Look at the remarks of then Governor Ben Bernanke. He today is chairman of the Federal Reserve. Back then he was the governor of the Federal Reserve, one of many. And they said, look at the speech that he gave at the National Economics Club in Washington, D.C. on November the 21st, 2002, and you will know what is going to take place. And they didn't say 2012, but I think I can surmise from reading between the lines that this is going to happen, and it's not going to be too long off, and you must make preparation. They're buzzwords. Here they are. First of all, there is going to be a currency devaluation. You can depend on it as much as you can depend on the sun coming up this morning and the moon being up tonight. It is going to happen. What does a currency devaluation mean? All right, first of all, let me give you this statement. You need to get this one first, then I'll give you their buzzwords. Whenever a nation finds itself in an insurmountable physical debt hole, there are essentially two ways to fix the problem. Number one, and on one hand, they can cut back on expenditures. Secondly, raise taxes. Or they can do the other. The alternative to cutting back on expenditures or raising taxes is they can devalue their currency. Now, we know that the Super Committee in Washington did nothing to cut back on expenditures. In fact, it was an utter joke watching them play up there like children. Raise taxes? They can't do it. The rich? Nobody else. They can't seem to raise taxes on anybody, but they want to talk about cutting them. Now, since those two things have not been done and will not be done, and they never intended for those things to be done, because behind closed doors they had planned a currency devaluation in the first place, and they knew none of those things were going to take place. They paid off all of Washington, D.C., with maybe the exception of Ron Paul. On the other hand, what can they do? Devalue the currency. Now, let me read it to you right from Ben Bernanke's own words in his speech. It is worth noting that there have been times when exchange rate policy has been an effective weapon. A striking example from the U.S. history is Franklin Roosevelt's 40. Folks, are you hearing the buzzwords? He used the word, first of all, exchange. There is going to be a devaluation. He said, secondly, he gives them out of the devaluation. Folks, you've got to listen to this. A striking example from U.S. history is Franklin Roosevelt's 40% devaluation of the dollar against gold in 1933 and 34. That one sentence is one of the okay, the buzzwords. First of all, there's going to be a devaluation of the currency at 40%. Let's just admit to it. You've got, say, $10,000 in the bank, and it's Friday afternoon, and you've been given no word whatsoever is going to happen on Monday morning. I guarantee you, you will not know in advance what's going to happen. It's going to take place more than likely over a long holiday or a weekend. And when you wake up on Monday morning and get ready to go and see how much money you've got in your bank account, in your checking account, in your business account, whatever it may be, it is going to be cut by 40%. That means if you had $10,000 in that account on Friday, you will have somewhere in the neighborhood of $6,000 only in that account on Monday morning. The currency will be devalued at 40%. Now, let me show you how they're going to do it. He used the example of Franklin Delano Roosevelt in 1933 and 34. What did Franklin Roosevelt do in 33 and 4? Whenever these people tell you something, please go and listen to them, folks. I beg of you. They give me these things, I think, because they're old men and they want to clear their conscience. He said in 1933, 34, what did Franklin Delano Roosevelt do? He said, bring in, they used gold back in those days. A man would carry around a $20 gold piece in his pocket, which today you'll pay $1,500 for. And they used it to buy groceries and other things. And he said, bring in your $20 gold pieces. It is your duty as an American to help build up the treasury of the United States of America. Go back and look and see what Franklin Roosevelt did. He said, bring in your $20 gold pieces. I will give you a piece of paper representing $20. It was a gold certificate. You don't have them today. You've got Federal Reserve notes today. He actually gave them gold certificates and said, you can take it back to the bank and get $20. The scoundrel, the liar, he knew it had already been planned behind closed doors. I've been told this, that he knew that within a few months' time he was going to take the price of gold from $20 an ounce to $35. Look in history. Go prove this for yourself. You don't have to take my word for it, nor the elitists that have just talked to me recently. You're going to face it soon. You'd better get ready for it. He took it from $20 a few months later without any warning. Nothing was said. Automatically, he said, we're going to $35 for gold. Figure it. From 20 to 35 is 40%. What did he do? The gold pieces that they had turned in for $20, they could go back to the bank and get $20 for it. They could not get 35. And when they went back to say, you scoundrel, you have ripped me off for 40%, he devalued the currency. This time, they'll merely take the Federal Reserve note, and where it's worth a certain amount on Friday afternoon, it'll be worth another amount on Monday morning, and you're going to have a 40% devaluation. It is coming. Now, what can you do about it? There's really only one thing, and Mr. Fromm told me this many years ago, and I didn't understand what he was saying. He said to me one day, he said, Chaplain, if it's written on a piece of paper, it's worth the paper it's written on. Alex, you've heard me say that over your show over and over and over. I did not know what Mr. Fromm was saying to me at the time, and he basically was saying, Chaplain, if it is not tangible, it's no good. Do you realize that piece of paper has got to be turned into something? If you don't get out of paper, IRAs, 401ks, your retirement funds, you can't depend on Social Security. The amount that you'll be getting will be worth 40% less the next morning after the devaluation. And you think that you can live on it? You're having trouble living on it now? Just wait until then. You've got to get out of paper before the devaluation takes place. What do? It's very simple, as simple as 1, 2, 3. Do you realize that the next morning, after the currency devaluation, that gold is going to be worth 40% more than it was the day that you bought it? Now, I know I do not sell gold and silver. You couldn't buy an ounce from me if you tried. Alex can tell you where to go for that. GCN can tell you where to go. All I'm telling you is the facts that have been given to me. You must get out of paper of every kind immediately. because it is going to be worth 40% less, but the gold is going to go up 40%, I guarantee you, within a matter of days after the devaluation.
Okay, Lindsay, let me just give the number out because we're going to take calls when we come back, and I skipped that last network break. 800-259-9231 to get people's take on this. Now, Gerald Celente, who I respect and whose analysis has been spot on, has made the point, I know you've made the point, that we have gotten reprieves. The elite has backed off a few times, and that's actually come out from Jim Tucker's sources mirroring what you'd already reported, and that they are concerned. And we had over 2 million guns sold so far in the month of December, an all-time record. 500,000+ of those, CNN reports, were sold just in the 6 days before Christmas. And so and there was a survey. The reason I know about this, I was listening to Fox News Radio driving in this morning, and they were reporting on the survey. And I pulled up the CNN report on it. But they were saying in the survey, people said because they're worried about civil unrest and that they don't trust the government. I mean, this is mainstream news now. This is being reported. I mean, I heard it on 590 AM. I went and pulled it up. Here's CNN. That's got to shake up the elite. Because, I mean, I can't tell you how many veterans I know. Some of them are young, some of them are old, and they're not looking for trouble. But they're not going to be pushed around like this is Russia or something. I mean, okay, they've trained the police and military to take on, quote, veterans and conservatives and libertarians, and we've gotten the manuals on that. This isn't going to fly. So, I mean, bottom line, from your research, there are ways to turn this around, or are we going into a zone where nothing's going to turn it around?
Well, there positively are ways to turn it around, and I've expressed this to you over the past many years. I've been on your show, Alex. I told you that when I lived with these people, I've said it to your audience over and over, when I lived with these elite for 3 years' time, I mean, I sat across the dinner table from them, lived in the dorms with them, talked to them one-on-one. They were not in my church. I was on their oil field. And there's only one thing on the face of this earth that the elite are scared of. Now, this doesn't come from what you hear or read about in the book. I lived it. The only one thing that the elite are scared of, they are scared to death of the masses waking up. That is the only thing bothers them. Money doesn't bother them. They have the control of it. Congress, they could care less. They control them. The president, he's under that total control.
And that's why they spend all day ridiculing people that say common sense things. And that's why it looks so silly now as they defend all this evil, because they're desperately trying to keep people dumbed down. And now people don't trust them. But the final domino, Pastor, from my research is people still think we're the minority. Lindsay, I'm out there. People recognize me, so I get interaction that regular folks don't get. People are awake, my friend.
They are awake, and they're waking up faster every day, and there are masses waking up out there. And come on, folks, you've got to immediately. You can't wait till tomorrow morning to make preparation. The day after the currency changeover, you are going to see every gun store in America wiped out in 24 hours' time. You mark my words.
No. Just last hour, I realized over the years I've expended most of my ammo. I am going to go tomorrow. I shouldn't even say this on air because I read the record cities, Austin, for gun sales. I'm going to go buy a mass load of ammo myself tomorrow. Wow. All right, Lindsay, stay there. It's crazy. I hope all this doesn't happen, but it's going from a possibility to a probability. Now, the wake-up may be big enough to back off the system, but they've done a lot of bold stuff. I'm not sure. And they want to start this war with Iran. That'll be a good political diversion for them. We'll be right back with your calls. Lindsay Williams, our guest.
What's up with these sorry politicians? Lots of bark. But when it's showtime, whimpering like little shih tzus. You want big cuts. Ron Paul's been screaming it for years. Budget crisis? No problem. Got $1 trillion year one. That's trillion with a T. Department of Education? Gone. Interior, Energy, HUD, Commerce? Gone. Later, bureaucrats. That's how Ron Paul rolls. Want to drain the swamp? Ron Paul. Do it.
I'm Ron Paul, and I approve this message.